How you guys doing? Eric here. This video is going to talk about more about the law of attraction in the Bible, why it doesn't seem to be mentioned that much in the Bible. Uh, Now, the Bible is interesting because the way it's written, it's people can interpret it in different ways, and it kind of depends on what your spiritual positioning is or maturity is. And when you read it, you're going to find different feelings from different verses depending on where you are in life. Like when I read the Bible as a kid, it was a very different experience than when I read it now. Now it excites me. Now it makes me feel good. It makes me feel amazed. It like blows my mind. Whereas as a kid, it was like I was kind of listening to the churches where you need to read your Bible, and it felt like homework I was doing. So anyway, the law of attraction, all the teachings of the law of attraction, which I think are the idea of teaching it and making it commercial was, I think it was Abraham Hicks with The Secret that made it a commercial thing. And it used to not be called this law of attraction. It used to just be called, I don't know what it would be called, but it's just the power of our faith. There were different groups that have different gods that they pray to, and if they had faith in something that would happen, and then if it happened, they would have the confirmation that their faith caused this to happen. Now, I found that there's one thing that Jesus said, then from what he said, all of the material on the law of attraction came from this. All the books, everything came from this, which is, he said that ask for something and believe that it happened. Feel the feelings of having it. If you're looking at the Dead Sea Scrolls, they had the original Aramaic, which translated it translated this verse in a way from the original Aramaic, which kind of says, the wording is something like, be engulfed, be surrounded by the feelings of having what you've asked for already finished. And then we know Jesus said, like, if you say to a mountain, move, it will move, something like this. And so we do see these indications of the law of attraction, right? And so what I also like, I was reading recently, is in Hebrews, in the book of Hebrews, it gives a list of all these people who did so many things in the Bible that could not have done these things without using the law of attraction, if you want to say it like that. They could not have done these things without faith. So the law of attraction is basically having faith. It's like the power of faith in our hearts. And what's amazing about faith is it doesn't require a master's degree. A child could do it. In fact, children are actually kind of better because they don't have the societal brainwashing that we do. As adults, we go through it. We are influenced by other people, and we start listening to the voices coming in rather than the voice coming out from our hearts. So the Bible does mention the law of attraction, but it's just not worded, and it's not worded in the way that our society or in the New Age group does these days. These days we give it a word, we give it a name, the law of attraction, and we basically take a God out of it. We say, oh, the universe is going to help you, which doesn't make sense to me personally, because if you look at one thing, like, what are you saying when you say the universe? I mean, it's all connected. There's not one thing greater than the other. It's all connected. So what are you asking for help, or who are you praising? Or are you saying the universe? So okay, the universe is a creation. So we're actually looking at source energy. So I just say God, okay? I'm not afraid to say God. Some people are afraid to say God, but something that I had to keep in mind is basically societal brainwashing, because society in the West especially, I feel, we've had a consumer culture that brainwashes us into thinking that we need to get something in order to be happy. And so if the self-improvement or the new age or whatever community can feed off of that, they can call it something like the law of attraction and focus on saying, hey, we've got some power. You can read about this, you know, how to get anything that you want. And um, yeah, knowing that it's a cultural thing where in the West we've got into this consumer culture where we're so focused on just getting things that we want, and that's become like the meaning of life, even though when we get what we want, we don't really feel happy. It doesn't really ever satisfy us as much as we want it to. And so I keep in mind that, and also that going back into ancient cultures, if you even just read history, if you look at the books about what people wrote about every day or what people thought about, and there's a lot of talk about God when people are writing in their journals or something. Because I read some, I remember, I think it was in university or high school, or reading some journal entries of just some common folk of I don't know, 1800s or something, and they talk about God a lot. And that's interesting because in the world, there's a universal desire to seek and find God, you know, in our hearts. It's written in our hearts, just like our conscience. And so that is the only thing that can really satisfy us. And I think that's another reason why we think the Bible doesn't really talk about the law of attraction. In reality, it talks about people acting on faith to utilize what we call the law of attraction now. But that's not the main focus. You know, there's something actually deeper. There's something actually more meaningful than a human wanting something and getting it, and then wanting something else and getting it. So we need to keep that in mind, the societal brainwashing that causes us to think about how to get something and how to get something and not really look for something deeper or something more meaningful. 4 days ago, I looked at a picture of a bamboo rafting, and I thought, I want to do that. That sounds good. And I just forgot about it. And then a few days later, my friend invited me on a trip. She said, hey, let's go to the cafe on the mountain. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. And so we all went with some friends. We went there, and it turned out it wasn't just that. It was bamboo rafting, and then it was feeding an elephant, and it was seeing this amazing view. And the trip turned out to be amazing. And I just remembered, hey, I just thought about how I wanted that to happen just a few days ago. So it's like the law of attraction is mentioned in the Bible, but it's mentioned in a different way. It's mentioned through the stories of people who have acted on faith. And basically the book of Hebrews says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. And I think that's amazing because faith is a resource that we all have. You know, it's kind of a choice of the heart. Is it a choice? It's a choice to be either very positive, to believe in miracles, to believe in all the good things and the mysteries and everything about life, to listen to that inner childish kind of voice, naive voice, I guess. I don't want to call it naive, but the world calls it naive. You can choose to listen to that voice, or you can choose to listen to all the other voices around you that only serve to take away your power. And there's a reason why they do. And you may have heard the voice from a friend, but where did your friend hear the voice? And then where did that friend hear the voice? And where did his parent hear the voice? Whatever negative voices we're hearing, it's coming from somewhere. And I really believe in, I'm kind of getting off track, but I really believe that anything that's disempowering to us is there for a reason. Because life has shown me that I do have power through my faith. Life has shown me that if I don't worry about things and if I just feel good, I'm actually utilizing what they call the law of attraction. I'm utilizing a positive mentality, because a positive mentality requires faith in the positive. There's another YouTuber I watched before. She always said, like, it's not about faith and not having faith. It's about choosing which side do you want to have faith on. Do you want to have faith in the positive or the faith in the negative? Sometimes having faith in the negative is even harder than having faith in the positive, you know, because sometimes things just work out in life, even just statistically, like they're going to work out. So you're going to have faith in the positive or faith in the negative. And if you have faith in the positive, you're utilizing what they call, well, I mean, actually, you're utilizing the law of attraction either way. You're utilizing it constantly because beliefs create reality. Our thoughts create reality. There's an amazing quote I love. It's, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Dr. Wayne Dyer loves saying that quote. It just means that our thoughts and our feelings create reality. More so our feelings, actually, because our heart emits so much more power and energy than our minds. Now, this is not me just talking. A lot of people, they want Western science-backed evidence. Okay, so they've done a lot of studies about the power of the heart recently, and they found, for example, they found heart intelligence. They think the heart is more intelligent than the brain, thousands of times more intelligent. And they say that the heart has thousands of times more power, which is measurable now, these days. It's measurable power than the brain, than the mind. So all this stuff that we're doing with the research and all this, it's just stuff that we've known as a kid. You know, it's stuff that we've known as, even in the ancient days, we've known that our hearts have wisdom, and we can trust in our hearts and in the power. So yeah, choose the heart. As cliche as it sounds, choose the heart. And the law of attraction is in the Bible, and it's in all the stories in the Bible where people have acted out of faith, out of following the heart, out of following even God's word, who speaks through the heart. You know, the more we connect to our hearts, the more we're connected to God. So yeah, it's there. It's definitely there. It's just termed differently, and it doesn't quite fit the mold of the new age kind of commercial, non-polarizing way that we define it today. Okay, so I hope that somebody got value from this video, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.